Okay, can you all see my screen now? So you should be able to see IG. Superb, sorry about that. Right, okay, so yeah, as I was saying, I just focus initially on the NAS to give me an overview of how the tech market will go today. So obviously we've had a significant amount of downside. This particular downside does obviously include retail traders as well as your big market leaders as well, you know, so all of our brokers are in here. However, from a Tesla perspective, when we just look at Tesla, this is on the daily, this also had obviously the huge downside as well this morning, as you can see here. Now, if I just bring across my FTMO screen, I presume you can all see my FTMO there, just to let me know in chat. Yep, great. Okay, so you can see obviously from Tesla that we're currently sat at yesterday's price of the $700 level. So what we need to obviously look at is we take out all over the place here. Take out this screen now. So we can see obviously that we've already had a $25 shoot down today. So we can see that we've broken through the daily pivot here. And pivots are very important because they are strategic key levels based on the previous day's averages. So I would recommend that all of you use pivots. It allows you to not need to actually put key levels in place. You can actually trade off pivots. Just to cover something off with you as well. So within my FTMO here, you'll notice, and you'll have seen this on my gold charts that I post, but you'll notice that we've got obviously these green lines, blue lines, red lines, and so on. So these are all the T's and keys indicator. And to apply that to a chart, I'll just put it on my Apple chart already on here. So simply within indicators anyway, I'll just remove indicators. Within indicators, wherever they are, custom. So you need to install this first. So simply download it from our download section, double click it and it will install. You then choose T's and keys. You don't really need to change any of these unless you're looking at, unless the levels aren't working correctly. So you can just hit OK and it will automatically apply all of your key levels, trend lines and so on across multi-time frames. So obviously this will change depending on the time frame that you're in. And again, you can adjust these settings. So I get my daily key levels solely from T's and keys. So it saves me going into various systems to pull out key levels when I don't need it. So obviously it picks up, this looks very messy, but I can assure you, and if you look at any sort of back testing, it works really well. At the end of the day, it's based on obviously Forex strategies of trading off key levels, trend lines across multi-time frames. So I definitely recommend you all look at that. Anyway, so for today, what I would usually do is go into my 4-hour chart and simply pull out my key levels. So my key levels actually match up brilliantly with today's pivots. So that's already a good start. And key levels for any of you that don't trade this way are simply, you know, levels within where candles may have formed and stopped and created obviously a higher high or a lower low. That's all it comes down to, and that is all this trading style is. Maz, I know you've mentioned, teach me how to do this, but there's no secret to this. I'm not, you know, a magician. I'm not showing trades that you guys can't get for yourself. I know, Sophie, you're in here. You've now started to actually identify and create trades yourself based off creating key levels, and that's worked for you. I know you made a mistake last week with one of those trades, but I think that was just down to you know, your actual bloody hell, your actual analysis. So ensuring that you obviously have the correct key levels in place is massive for this particular style of trading. So Maz, I know you've requested, you know, how you actually do it, but you've done this yourself before. You know, this is creating key levels within our charts. So, you know, my higher highs, and then drilling down to the hourly level. Again, basing off, I've got pivots here, so basing off pivots. So I've obviously got a key level here, key level here, key level at the bottom of these wicks, key level at the bottom of this wick, and so on. So Today is going to be interesting from an open perspective because we've had obviously a huge sell-off with Tesla, well, across the tech market itself. So it's going to be very interesting. So what I'm going to look to do now, so obviously I'm on the hourly chart. We are just looking on trading view. We are starting to see a very slight pullback, but I think the market's waiting for US Open to give us any type of pullback. But with those sorts of figures today, we're going to see downside for the next couple of weeks, as I've mentioned in the chat there. Okay, so today's analysis then. So as I say, I'm not going to go over how I've drawn key levels and why I've drawn them and wherever. I just go back to the daily very quickly. You can see that I've created obviously my trend lines from the bottom to the top and so on, created various key levels on the daily. So I'm now going to drop to my 15-minute chart. So this one is going to be tricky today, simply because we have broken through obviously the daily pivot and the support one. So we're just hovering around the support area at the minute, which is just under this particular key level. So my trade for today, and again, the reason I post at this time is I like to see what the market's doing a few minutes before. So if we look at just the 5 minutes, we're still seeing a bit of downside here on the market. So my first trade, I've got to keep in mind this particular level. So what I don't want you to do, because we're doing a live trade here, is go full margin, Maz. So what I want you to ensure you're doing here is expect the unexpected. You know, we could see a massive spike up because of this with this sell-off here. However, the big guys have already done, you know, they've already taken their profit. So I suspect this will go up slowly today. So my first level here, so we've got obviously a support zone, 680 there. So my first, let me just come out to the 15 minutes. Okay. Yeah, okay. So my first level today is going to be at 683. So I'm going to put a buy there at 683. And of course the sell. So we need to cover off ourselves with this support zone here. Yeah, so this is a huge area here. So I would say just below the 665 area. Okay. So I have sorry, one sec. So I have a buy stop at 683 or just over, and a sell stop at 664.9. So there's a bit of a distance there, but the issue we've got, I want to trade safe. I want to ensure that you guys aren't obviously going to lose any sort of money here. So that is just above our S1 support and just below our S2 support. So again, we don't know whether we're going to see a huge spike on market open because we've already had it, but those are my two areas. And you can see why I've done that. You can see just expanding out on the 15. So my entry is obviously just above this potential rejection zone here. So I'm just above that. And again, my short is just below these potential rejection zones here. So these wicks, okay, they're critical. So we've got a few minutes to go now. If you short Maz on my screen is 664.95. Another thing to keep in mind is obviously your price on FTMO. So as we've mentioned, the price finished yesterday at 699.25. So just obviously ensure that you're not going to get triggered into a long and it actually shoots down. So my recommendation would be to not put a long in place until we get anywhere near the 682 mark again. So at the minute, if you went into a long now, it would activate immediately. You'd be immediately in a loss. So don't do your long just yet. Wait until the market's open. I'm actually going to trade also Tesla on FTMO as well. So I'm going to put my short in here. So 664. Just going to drop this down to the 1 minute chart. Okay, let's see what happens here now. Okay, so we have entry. So my 500 mark is just there. So nowhere near as volatile as normal, which is to be expected, to be honest. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty with this huge drop off here. I am still here. I'm just watching this price movement. So we're just seeing NAS pulling back at the moment. Bit of a rejection from today's lows potentially first. Sorry about that. Okay, hopefully this will work. Yeah, so this is IG's web-based software. They have their own downloadable solution, but it's pretty awful. So this is what I use to trade with. Of course, the C Trader as well. But yeah, this is a lovely system to use. For those of you who do use IG, you'll already know that it is a nice system to mess around with. So this was my concern today with such a sell-off on Tesla. $30-odd sell-off pre-market. It was a concern that we'd have very little volatility, to be honest. So it's one of those things. Some days you win, some days you don't. Most of the time, as you all know, Tesla skyrockets and gives us the pips, but it's been a little bit slow at the minute. Ben, you normally have two stocks running at the same time, so you have a chart for each. Not on separate screens, so I will analyze pre-market, have my levels put in place, and then simply have them as pending. So then if you mean when market goes live, yes, then I will have two screens to show me both. Because I trade like this, so I'll close off when I'm happy. I need to be obviously aware of what the price action is doing and take profits when I need to take profit, and obviously pull a trade when it's going in the wrong direction. Of course, I have got a TP here at the minute of just over 500 points, but at the minute this is struggling. US 30 is rising. As I say, we had a pullback on the NAS, but we're at a very low level here, so I would expect a bit of upside, but time will tell. Yeah, it is making me look bad, Maz. Doesn't want to break this 683 level. It is a decent level, but we do need to see some of that upside. That is a significant sell-off there, so you would expect investors to want to get this price back up a little bit so they can go back in for the short. If any of you, by the way, are nervous about price action, this doesn't usually happen like this. As you probably, the people that do trade Tesla daily, you don't usually see this. So it is high risk taking this particular trade setup at the minute. So feel free to pull out if you want to. But for me, I'm happy with a stop loss sort of down at this level here, and take the short and recoup those losses afterwards. That's just my style of trading. I know what goes up must come down and so on. Maz, so, sorry, I'm not looking to jinx your trade, but where would you decide to get out of a losing trade next? Okay, so yeah, so Sammy, I think I've covered that. So I'd be getting out at just below here. I wouldn't go down to support level, although it's likely to bounce off, but I'd be just beneath these lows here. Anything below that you can classify that as obviously like a 15-minute breakout, and therefore we're likely to see more downside then. So cut my losses at that point and then work on a plan to obviously recoup my losses. Jan, definitely not what we usually see in Tesla every day. No, absolutely typical. So should we ignore FTMO regarding the gap we have? It's not really, yeah. So Mads, what you can actually find with FTMO, and I've done it a few times myself, is their gap is often very laggy at market open, and I've capitalized on that many times where I can see IG, the price has shot to maybe $10 up, but FTMO hasn't moved, so I've gone in, took the trade. They've not took me, they've not took any of those trades back or profits back from me from doing that. I guess if there's a load of us doing it from at the same time on the same trade, it might be questioned, but yeah, I have capitalized on that. IG play. Okay, does pivot always remain on the daily regards to chart time frame? It does in the setup I've got, KR, so mine is specifically set to daily pivots. So I can adjust that if I wanted to, and it then drops down to obviously the time frame that you're sat on. However, from my perspective, that's not what I'm after. I want daily pivots because they're significant levels. If you drop it down, you'll start to see more and more inconsistent results. So just looking on our trading view for indices, so I can see NAS is currently at the top of its own box. This is slowing down, so I think at this point here, although it's probably going to spike up and give me my 500, but I'm going to be happy with. Will he get it? Will he get it? Yeah, there we go. Okay, 500 points. So this may come back up to this pivot point area. It may not. It may come back down. As you can see, it's starting to get a bit of traction here now. I think the key, and I really want all of you to understand this, is this style of trading isn't to do with how much can I get, It's being happy with what you're able to take out the market and what's in front of you at the time. So this isn't any type of investment strategy. This is really a get rich quick scheme that apparently we can't do, but it's highly successful. Yeah, it's not financial advice, Jan. But yeah, it's highly profitable. I've got a really good conversion rate because it's just about understanding, the flow of data that's coming that we're seeing real time. So these indices that we see, we know we've had a huge sell-off, and therefore obviously that corresponds to any type of tech stock such as your Amazons, Apples, and so on. And that's really all I concentrate on. If we look at Amazon here, for example, we can see it's currently hitting its S3, so it is going to have a slight rejection. So you'll see rejection with Tesla as well. And these are things when you're looking at, am I taking profit here? You'll quickly take a look at the rest of the market. Are they hitting key levels? Because all of these have confluences. They all react to the same type of price action. Some may have moved more at market open. Some may be just going sideways, but they do all react with each other's support resistance zones within the pivots. So looking at NVIDIA is another favorite of mine. Again, it's had good movement from the market open. And we could be really greedy with this. I could do analysis on 5 different charts before market opens, but it's just hard to manage. I like to work on 2, maximum 3, because it's hard to manage when you are trading live, when you want to take profit at a certain point. Yes, I could put TP points in place. I do that every so often, but it's nice to just manage the trade and be able to walk away if you've hit 45 points rather than 50 points and so on. So let's just have a look if there's any questions. So Forex get broke quick scheme, yeah. The Forex at the minute it's an odd market. I've traded for just under 3 years now, and Forex was my thing. I then moved to gold, but I think since November last year I've been trading indices and stocks, and I'll never look back now. What's the point? You can trade these, and you know, I could take 20 trades a day, and I'm waiting for Forex, perhaps one, maybe 2, 3 a week. So yeah, this is the life for me now. Sammy, how do you decide trade side when doing stocks? I usually risk a percentage of my balance based on where the SL is placed. So this is difficult to get around, because previously with any type of trading, I'd be looking at obviously my 1%, 1.5, maybe 2% max. With this, I stick to specific lot sizes or contract sizes per index. So Tesla, I'm trading with 500 trades, and it's all about quantity. It's, you know, I will hit stop loss at some point, but I think I'm 7 or 8 stop losses since November last year. So it's a very good conversion rate. So from my, I'm getting told here that we have 10 minutes left, so I'll just speed up. So from my perspective, I work on a daily basis on for these opening trades on worst case scenario. So worst case scenario for me on a long trade from a breakout would be the low of the day. And it's very rare that it actually will retrace back to the low and go straight through it. If it does, I accept that that's a loss, and away I go. So to answer your question in terms of what percentage size, that has to, I mean, I'm comfortable with my percentage of loss. So I've got a decent size account with IG, and I'm happy, you know, if I lose 3 or 4K on a trade like this, I know over the next 2 or 3 boxes, I'll get that back. Or perhaps the next NVIDIA trade, I'll get that back. So it's a mindset of not necessarily thinking about, oh God, that's, you know, and, you know, even down to £50, £100 mark, oh God, I lost £100 there. It really doesn't matter, because the next trades that you take, because these are so frequent, you're gonna do 10, 15, 20, you know, we've had days where we've had 30 and 40 trades in a day. And they're all in the results section if you guys want to go and look, any of you new guys. So this is all about quantity and not quality. And I know that sounds really daft, and it's completely opposite to what you've known before, but this also is very different to the type of trading that you've done in the past, strategy-wise. You know, previously you'd be looking at, for example, this area here on the S1 to take a short. You know, you would be short in the retest area. You know, this is completely different. We're trading those breakouts because we know after a huge sell-off, we're going to get that breakout to the upside, because, you know, investors want to get back in the trade. So the risk has got to come down to your own account. You know, what are you risk averse? Do you like a bit of risk like Maz? I know he does. He loves blowing accounts. And it's got to come down to how much you're happy to lose, and understand that in the next 2 or 3 trades you can get that back again. But I guess it comes down to how much time you've got yourself on screens. JP, will you still be doing the live trading video on the indices, mate? Yes. So on a day like today, it's not good. I think what would be, because we want to start doing these lives daily. I've in the background been working on a whole heap of new stuff for Gen X to revolutionize what we're doing, really, from an autonomous standpoint. So that's really, so a lot of my time is taken up with that at the minute, but it'll probably be a good idea to look at how the day is going between the first couple of hours. And usually I can say, yeah, this isn't a day for me to be trading boxes like today. But when we do see a decent day, and they happen very frequently, I think what I'll do is just put a live out. We'll go live in the next hour, and we'll sit on the live for an hour and take trades. You know, that there's nothing to hide. I'm really transparent with my trades. I post most of the setups. I post the results. So there's nothing to hide, but it's more so a case of, do we actually get the boxes forming while we're on the live? But yeah, we can absolutely try it. How would you manage this on FTMO? Always the same contract size also? Yeah, exactly the same, mate. So on FTMO with Tesla, I use 200 contracts. I think Sophie, if you could just say in the chat, but I think you do similar lot size or contract size. Again, what's probably a good idea is, once the market's calmed down, is if you just set yourself, you know, go to the 5 or 15 minute chart, set yourself a buy limit order, and just, you know, stretch out the TP and SL zones, and understand how much you would lose and how much you would profit based on the adjustment of the contract sizes, just so you're then comfortable with you know, what you're doing. But on a 100K account, a 100 contract size is ideal for Tesla to get some decent amount of profit. Understand. I can always size the SL based on the low high. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Sammy, so just on that, so my initial SL for market open is always the daily lows. However, after the first 15 minutes, I'll then actually adjust my SL. Like now, for example, I'd put it under the S1, which actually in this case was our entry point, so I'd be at break even. So if I was keeping this trade open, I'd put my stop loss just below this S1 zone here. And pivot points are also available in CTrader. They're in our download section, so feel free. Tesla's turned out to be a nice trade, as you can see here now. Okay, so Ben, so a good idea from STO challenge might be to make you total acceptable loss if it hit the low at 2%, so you're nowhere near hitting the daily loss limit. Yes, exactly that, Ben. So, and in fact, that's actually one of the FTMO strategies we put up. That's actually the strategy. So we'll aim for 2%. If it smashes through that, you can continue trading, but then reduce your risk to, like you say, 0.5 or 1%. Just stay well clear of anywhere near the 4% mark of loss in a day, because there is sometimes huge volatility in this particular trading style, and indices can shoot through the roof, as can stocks, and you'll be taken out. So no point in risking anything really above sort of 3% from a risk perspective. Yeah, and live trading every day or at least a few times a week would be amazing. Yes, we'll actually absolutely do that. I know Carl is also hungry to be ensuring that we're getting you guys live trading. So yeah, we will absolutely be incorporating that into the dailies, I would hope. Conscious we've probably got a couple more minutes, so if you've got any other questions to put in chat, guys, feel free. That Tesla's turned out lovely. So where were we? We were there. So it's done what, 1700 pips, considering it was a slow starter. Check yours above. Sorry, I didn't see that, mate. You just put your pivot on Tesla to see where we are. I don't have this. Sorry, mate, it already is on Tesla. So my pivots are here. So see R1 pivot, S1, S2, or did you mean on FTMO? If we got in the short, where'd SL be? Yes, so well, the high of today is pretty high. So if you look at the 15 minutes, so today's high is here at 721. Oh, no, wrong day. Let me just come in here. So today's high is there, 709. So I probably wouldn't have my SL that sort of level. So our SL is here. It's a tricky one, this one, simply because our entry is obviously right on a support zone. Just come out of here. Oh no, that's the wrong bloody trade. That's why. So down here, our entry is at the just below this particular support zone. So my stop loss would be here. So it's a huge stop loss up here at 682 at today's entry for the long. You're likely not going to need that anywhere near that, but it's there for a reason. However, with the market now open, again, you wouldn't need that sort of stop loss. You can go off your basic key levels on you look at the 5 minute. You could have a stop just above this section here, so it's 677. So sort of a $10 stop.